As a child, nothing got me more excited than getting one of these in my lunchbox. Take a look. This is called Sfeeha, which is the Middle Eastern answer to pizza. We've got fresh made dough, ground up meat, flavored with allspice, some tahini for some richness. And my mom used to make it so lovingly for me when we were kids. And we are going to make it right here, right now on Feast in the Middle East. Welcome to another episode where we share with you one of my childhood favorites. This is quintessential Arab comfort food called Sfeeha. And you know, there are shortcut ways to make it, and I'm going to show you a shortcut right now. There is the aromatic part. I've got a food processor so you don't even have to chop. And I've got a couple of fat cloves of garlic that I'm just going to put here. And we're just going to process the garlic first, just like that. You can chop everything by hand, but when you're rushing like me, you don't have time for that. So I've got my garlic, and then I have a half of an onion. And you could also grate the onion if you wanted to, or chop it by hand. Here we go.
That's enough.
And finally, we're going to add a big handful of parsley, and this is going to add a lot of freshness to the ground beef. So we're just going to pulse that. You don't want to make it soupy. You don't want to over process this. So we're just going to kind of pulse it. There. So that's going to go with the ground beef, right? And now my mom is going to...
We are going to... What happened is that people usually... Well, we're going to mix it with the meat, okay?
All right.
This mixture is going to be used with the meat. Now we're going to put this.
This is just a pound of ground beef.
Pound of one ground beef. Now some people like to use lamb, maybe a mixture, half lamb, half beef, or you could put all of it, lamb. So you kind of want to incorporate it really good. And we're going to add the spices. Now your hands are clean.
Sure.
A little bit of, about a teaspoon of allspice.
Okay.
Yeah, put the whole thing. Yeah, put the whole thing.
Teaspoon of allspice.
And put the, where is the salt?
Salt. All right. We also have some lemon pepper. This is unusual. Not everyone uses this, but if you know us, Kinder should pay us for the lemon pepper that we use in our family.
I just feel that the lemon adds something, you know, whatever it is. So you add lemon pepper to it and it tastes amazing, okay? So there we go. This is the mixture that we're gonna be using. So I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of butter.
That's ghee, actually. That's ghee.
And I like to add olive oil too.
Sure. There we go, a little bit of olive oil.
Olive oil. And I'm gonna add this mixture and lightly saute it. I'm not gonna cook it all the way. Now we're done with this. And lightly saute it, okay?
It's almost like kifta, really. At this point, the meat is like a kifta combination.
Oh, the smell is already amazing.
Yeah, it smells awesome.
It smells awesome.
But this is what we would use for kifta as well, so it's very similar. So let's say you have an excess of meat over the dough, you could roll the rest and make kifta kebabs with it, or you could make a kifta burger with it. So there's always something you could do with the leftover meat. This is a great story. So my mom once made a bunch of these sfeehas for a school fundraiser. She made, how many did you make at the time? Like 100?
Oh my God, 100
the poor thing was
something.
baking for days, right? And they sold out in like an hour.
Yeah.
And the school made so much money off of my mom's sfeeha.
They loved it so much. They said, you want to make it again next year? I said, no, thank you. Find somebody else.
It was a bit too much. She really overdid it. I remember she was completely exhausted.
2 days.
It was like 2 days of like
kneading
constant...
dough and making, and I made the spinach pies too. Remember?
Yeah, she made the spinach pies too. Yeah, so the school went absolutely insane.
They went insane because it was sold out. It was such a hit. So there we go. That's it. See how fast that went? Very quickly.
That was awesome. Okay.
Okay, now we let it cool a little bit here.
So I'm going to put a card for another video that we did where we made this dough. It's also in my cookbook. It's for pita bread. So we're using that dough. Now, if you don't have time to do it Go buy some store-bought dough in the refrigerated section. They sell them at Safeway and Trader Joe's, and it'll do just as fine if you want to take that shortcut.
So we're gonna put a little bit of butter at the bottom of the pan because this way it adds flavor and will prevent the sfeehas from sticking to the pan. Have this dough that has been rising for 2-3 hours now.
Okay.
And you see it has risen beautifully. You could tell.
It's got a belly button.
Yeah, it's so
She
cute.
just poked a belly button in the middle of the dough.
Okay. All right. So what are we gonna do now with this dough? I like to put my hands with some butter to make it like softer. And this is the technique I use. Prick. Bum.
You make golf balls.
Golf balls, see? The size of a walnut, okay? So easy, you just keep going, you know? See, if you're used to it, your hands will kind of move quickly instead
You
of...
just squeeze it that tight. There we go.
Squeeze and go, squeeze and go. Try to get it as uniformly as possible, like a ball.
I used to make them too big because I like them big. But,
Some
you
people
know.
like it smaller, some people like it bigger. That's your own choice. You could see the differences, see? But no, Blanche is making it big, way big, okay? Okay, so you have to let it rest. You bring a rag and you have to let it rest, okay? Rest 10 or 15 minutes or so. And when I have some that is already been resting, so I could work with it, okay?
Yeah.
This one is been working and you'll see why. Now
It's easier to work with. That's why you need to let it rest.
the pan that is being resting has released some liquids to it when you let it sit, and we don't want this liquid. I'm gonna let it drain here a little bit.
Oops. So we are taking this step just to prevent the sfeehas from getting soggy. This is juice of 1 lemon, and this is 1/4 cup of tahini. You could use more, you could use less, depending on how much you like tahini.
Yes. So I'm gonna mix it together. Mix it. I'm gonna mix it really good so that it's all incorporated like that.
And that's going to be used to season the meat. And it adds an amazing flavor, super rich flavor. You wanna add pomegranate molasses to this? Feel free to do that. It'll add some sweetness and some tartness. We're doing it without, but you certainly can add it.
So now you see you have like a uniform paste that it has formed. Okay, I'm gonna take out these that look
Look
how
at all
much
that liquid that came out.
that came out of
Wow.
it. We don't want that.
Okay, so you want to just add it to the skillet? Go for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna add it to the skillet. I'm done with this now.
All right, and you want to add
And I'm
this?
gonna add this to it too. Okay. So I'm gonna add this.
Facing the camera, okay.
And I'm gonna mix it. I'm gonna incorporate it, okay? I'm gonna incorporate the tahini with the meat. What do we do with these that have been rising? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spread it. And it's so easy to do.
Now that it's been sitting there.
It's so easy. Because sometimes what you do is you're fighting the dough. You know, you're spreading it and it's not letting you spread it, and it's like going back, you know, it kind of shrinks again, so it doesn't, it's hard. But look, I spread it very easily. And it's okay if they're touching with each other. I like it when they're touched, because what happens is when they're touching each other and they rise, they kind of help each other to rise.
Oh, okay. They're like, it's like an army of dough friends.
Yeah,
That assist each other to rise in the oven.
It's a trick that I use. It's not, it's on purpose. Now, what we're gonna do is, I like to use my hands, not a spoon. And I like to spread them like that.
Since I'm not wearing mama's gloves, I'm going to use a spoon, so.
Okay, so this is what I do. I spread them like that, okay? Let it go all the way to edge, but not too much. Leave it a little.
You want a little crust, just like you would a pizza.
You have to have the oven preheating
Yes.
as we're speaking.
Yes. We preheat it to 400.
450. This needs a high temperature. Dough needs high temperature all the time. Okay, now, this is a matter of choice. It's up to you. Some people like to add tomatoes with it. Blanche, your hands are clean.
Sure.
Just a little tomato. And some people don't like the tomato. So like the children don't like the tomato. They tell me, don't put the
I
tomato.
like the tomato, and my
But
sister likes
some
tomato.
people like the tomato. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some tomatoes. They give it a little color, and it's good for you.
So the final touch is to add pine nuts to these.
Okay, and you add the nuts, and make sure you
Press the nuts.
press. Otherwise, they're gonna, when you bake them and you store them, it's gonna fall all off. And you don't want to waste any of these pine nuts because they're very expensive, first of all.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a waste. And voila, they're done.
Aren't they
That's
pretty?
it.
They're
Now-
beautiful. So bake at 450 degrees for about, I'd say, what, 12 to 15 minutes, depending on your oven?
Depending on your oven, I can't tell until you see it start
Brown.
to brown the edges, and you put them in the lower rack, and if they're not browning enough at the top, put them in the middle rack. Go one rack higher. Yeah.
Okay, so let's put this in the oven right now.
Okay.
You see how they're nicely browned. Let me show you a close-up of this gorgeous dough and the meat in the middle. Actually, I'll use the tomato as an example. Okay, look at this, guys. Look at that. That dough is gorgeous. Honestly, you could use store-bought dough and it'll probably look like this as well. So if you want that shortcut, it's a great one.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Oh my God.
Let's try.
So soft. Very
I really like it with tomato. It's not traditional, but I really
Yeah.
love it with tomato.
No, a lot of people use tomatoes. You could put some, too, if you like hummus with it, on top of it. Or
I
you
like
could
this especially with hummus. It goes well because there's tahini in the meat, tahina in the meat. So it's a perfect pairing. So if you want to serve it like for a party, you could serve this all around and put a dip of hummus in the middle. Winner, absolute winner. Well, thank you for joining us here on Feast in the Middle East. It's always a pleasure to have my mom. And yeah, all these recipes, we've got Sfeeha in this cookbook as well. Just go to feastinthemiddleeast.com to get the cookbook. While supplies last, I have the hardback. I don't know if I'm going to make hardcover the next edition. It might be paperback. So if you really value a hardcover, I suggest getting your copy right now while they last. Over 200 recipes, Sfeeha included, along with a lot of other amazing goodies from my childhood, from my mom, from me, from our family. And we're excited to have you join our global cooking family. Make sure that you're subscribed. For some reason, a lot of people are not getting their notifications. YouTube is either unsubscribing them, or I don't know what kind of problems are going on. But tell me what you think. I hope you guys make it. If you make it, send them to me on Instagram and I'll add them to my stories and give you guys a shout out. Well, next time, guys, take care, and we'll be back with another episode of Delicious Recipes really soon.
Yeah.